In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you on how you can get set up with Roblox TypeScript and Rojo. Now you may be thinking to yourself, okay, this is all great and all, why should I learn a new language when I already know Roblox Lua itself? And this is a great question, and that's why I'd like to explain to you the benefits of both Rojo and Roblox TypeScript. So in simple words, according to the Roblox TypeScript documentation, Roblox TS is a way to use tooling and ecosystem surrounding TypeScript for Roblox development. This includes IntelliSense, IDE extensions, linters, code formatters, and more. It allows you to write TypeScript code that is compiled into Lua code for use inside of Roblox. So Roblox TS is essentially a compiler, and this means that it's going to convert your TypeScript code into Lua code. Now, in addition to that, you may be thinking to yourself, what is Roblox TypeScript? And TypeScript is a statically typed language. This means that developers define the type of parameters, variables, and return values. This means that if you're working in a large team, the code will be more readable and easier to understand. It will also prevent more bugs, as if you're writing good TypeScript, only the correct data type will be able to be assigned to a certain value parameter or return value, making it much more safe and less bug prone. It also just improves the developer experience, as you get access to IntelliSense, which will make writing code much more enjoyable and much faster. In addition to that, you get access to linting and formatting tools. ESLint is a linter, and this means it checks all of your code to make sure that it follows a certain set of rules. This is super important when you're working in a large code base, as it makes sure all of your code is consistent throughout. Also, Prettier helps with this as it's a formatter, and formats format your code so that they're pretty, like the name implies, to make sure that your code has a consistent styling theme throughout. As you can see, the Roblox TypeScript documentation goes on to explain why Roblox TypeScript is so useful. It also describes why Roblox TypeScript may not be good, and it mentions that the biggest downside to Roblox TypeScript is debugging. So when you use the Roblox Studio debugger or when you encounter an error, you'll see the compiled Lua code instead of the TypeScript code, which can make it a little bit more difficult to debug. Now, in addition to that, we're also going to be using Rojo, and Rojo is essentially a tool that syncs any of our changes from our favorite IDE, in today's example we'll be using VS Code, and then syncs it into Roblox Studio. Another reason we get a massive benefit from using this ecosystem is we get access to GitHub. GitHub is an excellent source control tool. This means that when we're making changes to our code in large teams, we'll be able to look through all of the history of our code, we can look at changes made to our code, and I could go on for reasons about why GitHub is great and how to use Git, but I'm going to leave a video down below which you can look at after this tutorial so you can understand what GitHub is good for. Also, it may be slightly annoying as you need to learn a new language that is TypeScript, but if you already know Roblox Lua, this actually won't be too challenging as you're just going to be learning the new syntax of the TypeScript language. I'll also leave an excellent tutorial down below on getting started with TypeScript, which will hopefully provide you an insight on how to use TypeScript effectively and properly. So as mentioned earlier, our IDE of choice is going to be VS Code. So we're going to go ahead and now download this. We can go ahead with downloading VS Code by clicking the download button for our specific version. It's going to go ahead and now download this. As you can see, it's now installed the downloader, and we can click open file. Then we should accept the agreement, then click next. Then we can click next. I'd recommend going through all of the defaults here, and then click next again, and then install. Now let's wait for VS Code to successfully install. In the meantime, we should head over and install Node. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime, and this is going to be useful for us as it's going to also install npm, which is a package manager. We're going to need a package manager so we can install Roblox TS. So let's click on Node.js. Once again, I'm going to leave a download link down below to anybody who wants to install VS Code or Node.js, so the links for everything will be down below. Then we're going to click download Node.js LTS version, and we're going to wait for it to install. As you can see, Visual Studio Code is now completed downloading, and we can click finish. We can also run the Node.js installer. Once again, I would use all the defaults here. So next, I accept the terms and the license agreement. Next, 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 next. And then we're going to click on install. I'm going to press yes. Now to check that everything has worked, let's boot up VS Code, just like this. As you can see, we have the onboarding here, so I'm going to choose my favorite theme, which is dark modern. Then we're going to have rich support, so let's go over to extensions here. And then let's search for TypeScript. And let's install the TypeScript extension. It's going to install this. Make sure it's the one by Microsoft with the check mark. Okay, it's installed. Then we can tune our settings, so let's open up our settings. Let's just turn on autosave here and set it to on focus change. Then we can skip the sync settings across devices, we can skip that, and we're all done here. So now let's just check that we successfully installed npm, and we can do this by heading to terminal, new terminal, and then simply say npm -- version, and you can see we have the latest version. Remember, your version might not be the exact same as me. As long as this actually returns a number, it's worked successfully. Next, we need to install the Rojo CLI. So we can do this by heading over to Rojo's website, which is rojo.space. Once again, a link for that will be all down below. Then we're going to head over to docs, and then to installation, then to CLI. Now we're going to need the Rojo CLI so that we can install the Rojo plugin. My favorite way to do this is by using the Rust package manager, which is the cargo package manager. We can do this by following this hyperlink to the Rust programming language. We can click get started, and we can download the latest version, so download the suitable one for your type of machine. Then let's open this file. Okay, as you can see, we have a nice CLI installer here, so just press 1 for the quick installer, and let's watch it do its magic. We're going to have to approve this by clicking on yes. Okay, click continue. Wait for this to finish downloading its stuff here. Then just go ahead with the install. Wait for it to install here. The reason it's messed up on my screen here is because I am using a virtual machine just to demonstrate how you download VS Code and get set up. After we're done with the install, we'll be swapping back over to my normal machine. Okay, as you can see, the install's done. I'm just going to skip this for now. Then I'm just going to start Visual Studio. And as you can see, everything has been completed here, so let's just wait for that to all complete. Okay, perfect. So we can now close Visual Studio. Keep in mind, Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio are different things. We can also close this here. Rust up will continue once Visual Studio installation is complete. Let's just enter and press 1 again. Okay, now it should work successfully. Yep, there you go. As you can see, everything is installed and we can press the enter key to continue. Great. Let's check everything has worked by heading back to Visual Studio Code and then typing inside of our terminal cargo -- version. As you can see, it now works inside of Visual Studio Code. Finally, we can install the Rojo plugin by running this simple command. Cargo install Rojo -- version 7. So let's copy this, then let's paste it into our VS Code terminal. As you can see, it says Rojo is installed, and we can check that the Rojo CLI is present by typing Rojo space -- version. And as you can see that Rojo 7.4.3 is installed. Once again, your version may differ from mine. Now that we've got that done, I'm going to head to my desktop and create a brand new folder. I'm just going to call this Roblox testing, but you can call it whatever you want. Then we can right click and click open with code. Now that's open, we can create a new terminal by going to terminal, new terminal, and then let's head back over to the Roblox TS documentation, head over to quick start, and let's copy the first command, npm init roblox ts, and this will start the interactive project setup tool. So let's return over to Virtual Studio Code, copy our command and press enter. It's then going to take us through this kind of onboarding process. So, a project directory, I'm just going to make it here, so press enter. Then we can use a template. I'm going to use the game template. We will definitely want to have Git configured, and this will make it easier to integrate with GitHub, so press Y. Then, of course, we want ESLint. Talking of ESLint, make sure you head over to extensions here, and make sure you install the ESLint extension, once again by Microsoft. Then press Y. Then, Prettier, make sure you have the Prettier extension installed, making sure that you've clicked the install button. And then also press Y for this, signifying yes, and then press Y to configure the VS Code project settings. Then make sure you use npm, so press enter, and then let's wait for it to work its magic. Now the way that Rojo and Roblox TS works together is super intelligent. So if we return back over to the Roblox TS documentation, you're going to see we can run npx rbxtsc-w to start watch mode. Now what watch mode is going to do is it's going to check our source folder, and then it's going to listen for changes inside of the source folder. If any changes are noticed, it's going to compile this TypeScript code into Lua and put the Lua output code inside of this output folder over here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to run Rojo serve, which is going to start a web server, which is then going to connect to the Roblox Studio Rojo plugin, which is then going to listen for changes on that web server. And then when changes are made to our source file, Roblox TypeScript will compile it into Lua. The changes will be put inside of this output folder. Rojo will detect these changes, put them on the web server, and then the Rojo plugin will notice these changes on our Rojo web server and make the changes inside of Roblox Studio. Yes, a bit of a mouthful, but a super cool thing indeed. So let's start by running watch mode. We can simply do this by copying this command npx rbxtsc-w, and it's going to start watch mode. As you can see, 0 errors were found while trying to compile, and now we need to start Rojo serve. Now before anything, we need to make sure we have the plugin installed, and we can do this by doing Rojo space plugin space install. As you can see, it's already done, and now if we open up Roblox Studio, head into a new game, I'm just going to use the base plate template, then let's publish this, I'm just going to call it my TS game, then press create, wait for it to load, then close this, head to game settings, security, and allow HTTP requests, then save everything. Then let's open up our Explorer and properties, and as you can see, if we head over here, we now have this Rojo plugin installed. As you can see, here it is, I'm just going to chuck it on the left here, and as you can see, the Rojo 7.4.2 plugin is now installed. Now what we need to do is we need to run Rojo serve, and this is going to start our Rojo web server. Now what we can do is it's going to be running on the default ports and address, and so we can simply review our settings here. I'd recommend having all the defaults here, so the sounds, the sync reminder, all of this good stuff, and then the default values are already here so we don't have to change anything, and then we can just press connect. Then let's accept the incoming changes, and as you can see, our code here is the client code, the server code, and the shared code. And now if we have a look in our Explorer, you can see super cool, the changes are reflected inside of our Roblox Studio game. Now, if we take a look at the default.project.json, this is a really important file to Rojo. This is as it tells Rojo where to put everything. So as you can see here, we have our tree, and inside of our tree, we have the server script service. As you can see, this is defined using the class name, and also it's defined up here. And as you can see, we make another folder by defining TS and then making these squiggly brackets, and then we set the path to be output/server, and that's where our compiled Lua code is. So any of the code inside of this output/server folder will be put inside of server script service, and then inside of the TS folder, and the TS folder will be put inside of server script service. We can see this as in server script service we have the TypeScript folder, which is TS, and then we have all of our compiled code inside of it. If we don't want this folder here, or we want to change the name of it, what we can do is we can actually remove this, or we can change this TS value to, let's just call it typescript, just like that. And as you can see, the changes are made on Roblox Studio and the folder is renamed. And if we don't want it, we can just remove it just like this, format it again, and as you can see, we have our path and our compiled code is already in there. Now, you may notice we have different script types here. We have a local script, we have a standard script, and in here we have a module script. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, okay, how does Rojo know the type of these scripts? And that's an excellent question. So, if we look here, as you can see, the first part of this name is actually the name of the script. So as you can see, we have main.client.ts. So if we change this from main.client.ts to secondary.client.ts, and we look inside of the client folder, you're going to see that the file name has changed to secondary, but it's still of the local script type. If we in fact change this from .client to .server, you're going to notice it's actually going to change into a normal script. And if we remove that server.server and just have it on its own like that, you're going to see it becomes a module script. Now, in the Rojo documentation, it tells you all about the sync details here. As you can see, it describes how everything works here. So that's a good place to face if you want to start understanding how to work and use this tree. Now, as you can see, Roblox TypeScript has an excellent documentation that describes all on how you can use the services, all of the different things like that. It has different guides, all of this amazing stuff, which I'll definitely recommend checking out for yourself. It even has implementation with existing LuaU, which may be useful if you have a LuaU module, for example, you want to use, but you don't have it written in TypeScript, which is super useful. You can also notice how you can use TypeScript packages and all of the like. Also, if we head back to Roblox TS, you're going to notice there's a folder called RBXTS_include. Now, this essentially contains a ton of packages and different module scripts to help Roblox TypeScript work. Now, of course, it's in replicated storage, so both the server and the client can access it. And you don't have to worry about this file, and it's in a perfect location. So once again, the Roblox TypeScript template has worked great and provided us with all of that useful info. So I'm going to quickly show you an example of, for example, printing out the user's name when they join a game. And let's head back to VS Code. And also, I just want to quickly introduce you to GitHub. Now, once again, I could go on for ages all about GitHub, and if you get to learn how to use the Git CLI, you basically become a wizard, but I'm just going to show you a quick example. So if you don't have a GitHub account already, head over to github.com to this dandy website and go ahead with the sign up procedure. Then once that is all good, you can head back to VS Code, and this is our source control menu. So all of the changes we make to code here, we can commit to our GitHub repository. So let's start by typing in Roblox TypeScript, or no, let's just say initial commit, because with each commit of code, which is basically telling GitHub this is the code we changed, we can attach a message, and this is useful for if we're working in a large team, as people can see what changes we've made. So let's run this initial commit, then let's click publish branch. We can give it a name here. I'm going to call it Roblox testing. If you want your code to be private, make sure you do a private repository. By the way, if you're not signed in here, VS Code might ask you to sign in, so just go ahead with that. And then it's published to GitHub private repository, just like this. You're going to notice it's uploading files. And then if we open on GitHub, you're going to see we now have our GitHub repository here. It has one commit, and as you can see, all of our code here is now reflected inside of our GitHub repository. Once again, if you want to understand more about GitHub repositories and why they're so useful, make sure you watch a video linked down below on how you can get started with using GitHub and all about the Git CLI. Once again, would highly recommend you start taking a look into GitHub. Okay, so I'm now going to show you that example of the player joining. Once again, if you want to understand more about TypeScript, make sure you watch the tutorial about TypeScript so you can understand the true benefits of it. So I'm going to delete all of our code here. And as you can see, we only have our shared folder here. I'm going to clear the contents here. And let's start by defining our player service. So we're going to say const, and we're going to say player service equals, and then game dot get service. And then we're going to say the player's service, just like this. Now, as you can see, we have a yellow squiggly line here, and if we go to problems, you can see Prettier is telling us to replace the enter to replace the enter with a semicolon, just like this. So if we format the document now, it's going to make sure we follow and stick to these rules. So now let's detect when a player joins. So we can say player service dot player added dot connect, and then we can define a function in here, just like that. And in here we can put in a player parameter. Now this is super good, as we can see player is of the type player, and this means TypeScript understands that this player parameter here is a player, and this means if we go ahead and print what this player is, you're going to see we have the IntelliSense of all of the different properties of this player here. So if we say name, as you can see, is going to print the player.name, and we got the IntelliSense as we knew this player was of the type player. And now we couldn't just do player.userid.split, for example, as it understands that user ID is a number and not a string, and it describes these in our problems. And you can also see Roblox TypeScript doesn't go ahead and compile the code, so only the correct compiled Lua code will then be synced with Rojo. And as you can see, the compiled code is reflected in our output folder here. As you can see, it says compiled with ROBLOX TS. And if we now head over to Studio, you're going to notice all of the changes, and you're going to notice the compiled code is here. So let's go ahead and click play and see if it works. So let's view and then to output. And as you can see, it works and it prints our name. We can also head back and commit this, saying remove unneeded or unnecessary files, detect and print when player joins to our commit message, commit, sync the changes, wait for that to finish. Then if we head back over to our GitHub repository, refresh the page, you're going to notice we now have 2 commits, and we can see all of the changes that have been made to our code. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this brief introduction to Roblox TypeScript. I'm sure it was a little complicated, and I hope this video piques your interest on Roblox TS and hopefully gets you and your team to swap over to it. So if you're thinking of starting a new project, I would highly recommend looking into Roblox TypeScript, as the difference it does make is actually quite big. And there is a big reason why all of these excellent games are using Rojo. Also, I believe Roblox Bedwars, which was supporting over 300,000 players, was fully using Roblox TypeScript, and I can say myself that the Roblox Bedwars experience is a very, very good one. So thank you everybody for tuning in. That's all from me. Have an excellent night, and bye bye.